Alright, we're going to take a look at circle graphs part 2. What will be different about this particular circle graph is that we're going to create it using just data as opposed to being given a whole table of information. So, we need to construct a circle graph using the information in the table below. So, we're taking a look at home heating, and we've got on the left types of fuel, and on the right we have the number of homes that use each type of fuel. Alright, so we need to first of all, in step 1, find the total number of homes. So we're going to take all the number of homes from that right hand column in the previous slide, and we're going to add them together. I like to find things that add up to 10 and do those first. So I've got a 2 and an 8 that creates 10, and then I have 4, 4, and 2, which is 10, and that's all of the numbers in the ones column. So I get 20, so I'm going to put a 0 down in the ones place and carry the 2 over to the tens place. I'm then going to add the numbers in the tens place, and that is going to equal 10, so I'll put the 0 down at the bottom in the tens place and carry the 1 into the hundreds. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, so my answer is that there are 200 homes that were used in that graph or chart. So now we need to find the percent that represents the number of homes in each group. So with bottled gas we have 12 homes. We're going to divide that by the number of homes altogether. So 12 divided by 200 gives us 600ths, or 6%. 64 for electricity divided by 200 total homes is equal to 3200ths, or 32%. Fuel oil with 18 homes divided by 200 homes altogether gives us 900ths, or 9%. Piped gas with 100 homes, that's half of our homes altogether, because when you take 100 divided by 200 you get 0.5, so that's 50% of all the homes. Wood, we have 4 homes altogether, and we're going to divide that by 200 and you get 200ths, which is 2%. And then other forms of fuel, we've got 2 homes divided by 200 gives us 1%, or 100th. So in step 3 we're going to use the percents to find the number of degrees in each section, but what we'll actually do is we'll take those percents and turn them back into decimals. And so with bottled gas we have 600ths times 360 is equal to 22 degrees. Electricity, we had 3200ths times 360. Remember, it's 360 because we're dealing with a circle and there are 360 degrees in a circle. Anyway, that's going to give us 115 degrees, or about 115 degrees. You got to keep in mind also that you have to do some rounding with this as well. You got to round to the nearest degree. So we have 900ths times 360 for fuel oil, and we get 32 degrees. Then 0.5, or half of 360, would be 180 degrees. And then wood, we have 2%, or 200ths times 360 would be, it's about 7 degrees. We have to do some rounding there. And then other, if you're going to have 3.6, you got to round that up to 4 degrees. All right, so we have all our degrees. And now we need to use a compass and a protractor to draw a circle and the appropriate sections. And so we'll watch a little video now on how that looks. Alright, so you can see I already have my circle drawn, and I've got the little dot that indicates the center of the circle. And the first thing I'm going to do is draw a line right across the diameter of the circle, because one of our measurements, pumped gas, is equal to half of our circle. It's equal to 180 degrees, which is just a straight line. All right, so I'm going to just draw that diameter there and label it PG for pumped gas, and one is out of the way. The next one I'm going to use is bottle gas at 22 degrees. So I take that center hole and put it right in the center of my circle, line up the line on the protractor with that diameter I just drew, and I'm going to look for 22 degrees and put a little mark out there on the outside. Use my straight edge of my protractor to draw a line to create a new radius, and that section right there is my bottled gas. Alright, I'm going to use that radius that I just drew. I'm going to put my protractor right on that center dot there, line up the line on the protractor with the new radius, and now I'm looking for 115 degrees, and that's a pretty big angle. I'm going to put a little mark out there on the outside. Use the straight edge once again to draw my line. Oops, I went a little too far. I'm going to erase that. Alright, and that there was 115 degrees for electricity. So I'll put an E there just so I remember. Next, we're going to take a look at wood, which was 7 degrees. So from that new radius I just drew, I'm going to shift my paper around here so I can get a better attack at that. Alright, I'm only doing 7 degrees, so I line up the line on the protractor with the radius I just drew. I'm looking for 7 degrees, which is kind of tiny, but I'm going to put a little mark out there on the outside. Use the straight edge to draw my line. That's my new radius. Kind of tiny, as you can see. Next, we've got other at 4 degrees. So I'm going to, once again, I'm going to take the little hole that's in the protractor, and I am going to put that in the center. I'm going to put the line, or line that radius up on the line on the protractor, and put a little hash mark there for 4 degrees. That's going to be a tough one to draw, but I think we can manage. There we go. Line that up, the center, draw that in, very narrow. And what we're left with is our fuel oil at 32 degrees. So I'm all done drawing radiuses now using my protractor. So now I just got to do a little bit of labeling here. Like I'm going to put the fuel oil FO. And typically when you're labeling a circle graph, if you have sections that are too tiny to write in, you draw a line from them outside and you do your labeling on the outside. Alright, and in the next slide that you see later on, you'll see what would be the proper way of actually labeling your circle graph. Here we're just kind of sticking in what was each type of energy or type of fuel. Alright, so there is that, and that is how that looks in the end. And so finally, step 5 is to label each section and give the graph a title. And be sure to include the percents while you're doing the labeling. So you'll notice on the bigger sections where you can fit everything, we've actually written it in into their section. But we have several in this particular graph that the wedges or pieces of the pie, if you will, aren't going to be big enough to do that writing. So we draw a line and then we do the labeling on the outside of the circle, such as we did with fuel oil at 9%, bottled gas at 6%, wood at 1%, and other at 2%. All right, so what we've basically accomplished here is we've learned how to construct a circle graph using data, or using data from a table.